So you want to be an F1 driver? I don't think you do, really, especially if you understand the downstream ramification and all that's going on with Liam Lawson now. As a report on motorsport.com, courtesy of Oleg Karpov and Jose Carlos de Silas, says that Liam Lawson will be replaced by the one they call Tsunoda-san as soon as the Suzuka Grand Prix in a couple of weeks' time. Oh, the humanity. Liam Lawson, therefore, will be gonzo. And why is this even a subject matter? People are saying that if you're going to put Liam Lawson in a Red Bull racing car, then you need to give the dude time, at least 6 races or potentially 12. Half a season wouldn't be amiss. Now they say because of the extent of his underperformance, because Red Bull Racing, Helmut Marko, Christian Horner want to avoid the shame that Checo Perez brought on the family name last year. And again, the Constructors' Championship was missed at the altar of Checo Perez's performance, that Liam Lawson will take the flack, that ultimately he won't be a Red Bull Racing driver as soon as the next Grand Prix. This article writes, Liam Lawson could be replaced at Red Bull by Yuki Tsunoda as soon as the Japanese Grand Prix. Amid a difficult start to the season for Lawson, Red Bull is already considering changing its driver lineup ahead of Suzuka, with Tsunoda-san named by the paddock sources as a potential replacement. Although no financial decision has been taken, discussions about such a scenario have begun amid the possibility of a driver swap between the two teams, understood to be likely. Therefore, what are we talking about here? Liam Lawson being demoted to the Racing Bulls, a car in which he could thrive per Maximilian Verstappen, a car easier to handle, whose handling dynamic is nowhere near as temperamental and or mercurial as the RB21, and that's got to mean something. You would argue that that's an environment that could harbour no nurture the not insubstantial talents and potential of Liam Lawson as an F1 peddler. This article continues. Lawson has endured a challenging campaign thus far, starting 20th and 18th respectively, making him Max Verstappen, by qualifying position, Max Verstappen's worst teammate to date. Christian Horner can't afford that. You saw him post-race today saying that again. You remember, for the longest time, they delayed making a decision around Checo Perez. No te rindas, cabrón. The documentary of Checo Perez that talked about his not insubstantial resilience, his ability to overcome. It dropped on the week when they were about to sack Checo Perez. Then they delayed, going into Singapore and Baku, tracks around which Checo Perez has gone well in years previous. And then they delayed, giving that dude a 2-year extension to his contract by dint of the 20 million sponsorship money that he brings in every single year. What Christian Horner, Helmut Marko, Oliver Mintzlaff, Mark Matterslitz can't afford to do is repeat the mistakes of Christmas past. Why are they thinking this though, chat? Why haven't they got patience? Well, it's not that Liam Lawson is underperforming, it's the extent of the underperformance. It's already become a joke in the paddock as soon as the Australian Grand Prix. Paddock insiders saying that if Red Bull wanted somebody better than Checo Perez, him being 0.8 off of Maximilian Verstappen's market leading pace, then they have got that in Liam Lawson. However, only to the tune of 1/10. Ergo, Liam Lawson is tracking 7/10 adrift of some say that the man who some say is soon to be 5-time champion. That, ladies and gentlemen, if we're having the umbrella conversation of winning ourselves a Constructors' Championship, is not, nor will it ever be, good enough. Liam Lawson appears to be a broken man. When he gets asked the question after the race today, what do you mean by you don't have enough time? I'm talking about testing. I didn't get enough time with the car, Liam Lawson retorted. Well, no, to be true and fair and precise, Liam Lawson, what you're talking about is that you don't have enough time to turn this around. He will have had the conversations with Helmut Marko already. This, at the Chinese Grand Prix Shanghai International Circuit today, would have been make or break. And I would contend that I agree with the motorsport.com article that they would not have seen enough evidence that Liam Lawson is capable of turning this around. You want your Exhibit D? Let me tell you, Christian Horner on the back of Checo Perez's performance last year, when it appeared they were turning a corner and starting to make a decision that Checo Perez was no longer fit for purpose as the second Red Bull Racing driver. Christian Horner all the while had been talking about, we've got to support Checo Perez, that Checo Perez is nothing if not resilient, and we need to make sure that we give him everything that we can to turn it around, and he will turn it around. When you heard Christian Horner's intonation and his tone change, he started to say something like this. You recall there was a very famous phrase where he said, we can't win a Constructors' Championship, we can't win this race running on one leg. Check out Christian Horner's statements, his comments after the Chinese Grand Prix around Liam Lawson when he was pressed by the Sky Sports F1 bods Natalie Pinkham. What do you think about Liam Lawson? Have you had time overnight? I know that you went and started him from the pits, adjusted for the balance. Does he need more time? What are you going to do, Christian? Christian Horner responded with the exact quotable, the very same verbiage that he responded when he was about to sack Checo Perez. He said, you know what? We don't have time. We can't win a constructors' race for the championship on one leg. I think it's significant that Christian Horner, always very diplomatic and clever with his verbiage, not necessarily tactful, chose to use the same words, the same phrase that he used when describing Checo Perez when he was about to sack him, when they were about to enter into terms discussion with a view to terminate Checo Perez's contract with immediate effect. If I were a betting man, I think those conversations are happening now. I would not bet against Liam Lawson not being a Red Bull Racing driver as at Suzuka. Why not, chat? We said the same thing about Checo Perez then that we are saying about Liam Lawson now. What's the downside to demoting Liam Lawson to the junior team, putting him in, therefore, a car that's infinitely easier to drive, allowing him to bloom and blossom, spread even his wings from a caterpillar that he is in his current form, as at the 23rd of the 3rd 2025, become a butterfly in a circumstance that's infinitely more easy to deal with than the one that faces him now. Promote therefore Tsunoda-san. Let's see what he can do. Lest we forget Tsunoda-san, he would be sat currently in 5th position in the championship, one ahead of Kimi Antonelli. But for the mistakes of Christmas past, the Racing Bulls and their strategic errors, it's Tsunoda-san's time. It's a Suzuka Grand Prix. It's pathetic fallacy. The time is now to promote that chap and see what he can do, how he can fare in the Red Bull racing car, in the big seat alongside Maximilian Verstappen, in the car that's difficult to drive. So difficult that there's only one driver on the grid that can drive it. He has a name, and his name is Maximilian Verstappen, for some say soon to be 5-time champion. What are we doing here?